Hi, welcome back to Frame by Frame.
Today, we're going to point our flashlights into the forest and break down one of the most beloved and emotionally powerful films ever made, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. I mean, it sounds like a pretty simple formula, doesn't it? But what you get, well, it's just pure movie magic. It's all about how those ingredients came together to create something that did way more than just entertain us. It completely captured our hearts and became this absolute classic. Okay, so first things first, let's really dig into this. Why does this movie, made over 4 decades ago, still hit so hard? Why does it connect so deeply with pretty much everyone? And honestly, I think this right here is the secret sauce. Because when you think about it, it was never really a story about an alien, right? It's a story about, well, us. It takes this sci-fi idea and uses it to explore these incredibly real, grown-up themes. You've got divorce, loneliness, and it does it all from a kid's point of view. All right, so let's get right to the heart of it. What makes this film tick? It's really all about the emotional core. We're talking these just mind-blowing performances and a screenplay that is, it's nothing short of brilliant. So get this. For his audition for Elliot, a 10-year-old Henry Thomas was told to improvise a scene. And what does he do? He thinks about his dog that had just died. And he produces these tears that were so real, so convincing, that Spielberg hired him right there on the spot. That kind of raw, genuine emotion is the anchor for the entire movie. And it's just incredible when you see how these 2 young actors brought totally different but equally vital kinds of magic to the table. You had Henry Thomas giving the film its soul, right? That feeling of loneliness that we can all connect with. And then you have this little 7-year-old Drew Barrymore who just injected this spark of pure, uncut wonder. Just let that sink in for a second. Barrymore actually genuinely believed E.T. was a living creature. So when you see her scream or laugh or cry, that wasn't acting. That was a real kid's real reaction to meeting an alien. And that belief, man, it's just totally contagious when you're watching the film. And it's not just the kids. The adults in this movie aren't just one-dimensional stereotypes. You look at Dee Wallace playing Mary, she's not just the mom, She's this newly single parent who's just desperately trying to hold everything together. And Peter Coyote is Keys. He's not some evil government bad guy. He's basically a grown-up who never forgot what it was like to be a kid, to believe in wonder. It makes the whole world feel so much more real. Melissa Matheson's script is truly the bedrock of this whole thing. It just gets it. It gets that kids talk over each other. It gets that families have this sort of secret, unspoken language. And maybe most importantly, it gets that sometimes silence can say way more than any line of dialogue ever could. So what this all means is that E.T.'s arrival, it's not just some cool sci-fi thing happening. For this family in particular, it's almost like a form of therapy. E.T. becomes the catalyst, the thing that forces them to actually start talking again and healing from the divorce that's torn them apart. And you can totally see how this healing process plays out. E.T. kind of fills that empty space left by their dad. This shared secret, this mission to protect him, it gives the kids a common goal and makes them rely on each other again. So yeah, the alien needs to go home, but in a way, he's also helping this family find their way back home to each other. Okay, so you've got this incredible script, right? But now the big question is, how do you actually capture that feeling of wonder on camera? How did Steven Spielberg take those words on the page and turn them into this visual masterpiece? This is one of Spielberg's signature moves, and it's so effective. Think about it. How many times in the first part of the movie do you only see adults from the waist down? Their faces are all hidden and out of frame. That's not just some cool artistic choice. It makes the adult world feel big, kind of scary, and mysterious. It literally forces us, the audience, to see the world from a kid's perspective. Really, Spielberg's whole visual approach here can be broken down into this amazing little toolkit. First, you've got the low camera angles, which put us right down on the floor with the kids. Then there's that dramatic backlighting, which creates those unforgettable, magical silhouettes. You know the one, with the bike flying across the moon. And finally, those intimate close-ups. They make absolutely sure we never lose sight of the raw emotion that's driving this whole story. And Spielberg is just a master at playing with our expectations. The beginning of the film, it's basically a gentle horror movie. You've got all this suspense, things moving around in the shed, those weird noises, the flashlights cutting through the dark. He actually makes E.T. seem genuinely scary at first. And that's what makes the slow turn from fear to this deep, profound love so powerful. Okay, so we've got the story, we've got the directing, but what about the star of the show himself? How in the world did they make us believe in him? How did a bunch of rubber, wires, and mechanical parts become this character that made the whole world cry? Check out this number, $10.3 million. That was the entire budget for this movie. I mean, today, blockbusters cost hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just staggering to think that one of the most iconic characters in film history was brought to life for what feels like pocket change now. It's just a perfect example of what pure creativity can do, even without a ton of cash. You know, bringing E.T. to life was like a symphony of different artists. You had Carlo Rambaldi's design, which gave him those huge, soulful eyes. You had Ben Burtt's incredible sound design, which created a voice that could say so much without using words. And then, of course, you have John Williams' score, which was basically the character's heartbeat, swelling with wonder one minute and just breaking your heart the next. But here's the real genius of it. The E.T. puppet wasn't just added in later. It was physically there, on set, interacting with the actors in real time. Spielberg even had the puppeteers keep E.T. alive between takes. So what happened? The kids formed a real bond with this character, not with a prop. And that's why their connection on screen feels 100% real. So, okay, the movie is obviously a masterpiece of filmmaking, but its legacy, man, it goes so much deeper than just ticket sales. Let's talk about its lasting impact on our culture. It's honestly hard to explain just how huge this movie was. It didn't just become #1 at the box office, it totally redefined what a blockbuster could even be. It proved that you could have this massive, spectacular adventure that was also a super intimate, emotional story. You could have both. And you can see the DNA of E.T. pretty much everywhere since. Think about it. The gentle robot in The Iron Giant, the friendship with Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon. This whole idea, this template of a lonely kid befriending some kind of magical, misunderstood creature, that became a storytelling powerhouse that filmmakers are still inspired by today. And maybe this is the most important legacy of all. E.T. is a story about empathy. It's about looking past all the things that make us different, looking past our fear, and finding what we have in common. It's this beautiful reminder that kindness and understanding are like a universal language, one that can bridge any gap, even a gap between worlds. So, when it's all said and done, why does E.T. last? I think it's because it taps into something really fundamental in all of us, you know? That need we all have for connection, for understanding, and yeah, for a little bit of magic. It's this powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest adventures start with just one simple act of kindness. Which kind of leaves you with one question, doesn't it? Who's waiting in your backyard?